Hey y'all, this is Treywick Ellis. If you couldn't tell by the name of the channel that you just clicked on, while you're looking down there, go ahead and click the subscribe button. I just wanted to do a quick video today, kind of a little vlog of what I'm going to be doing and working on my little homestead, and also going to do kind of a little introduction about what I've got going on here, what I'm doing, all of that good stuff. So I've been living on this piece of property for about a year, or excuse me, for about 7 years. And it's about an acre, a little over an acre. I have probably coming close to 100 different fruit trees. Most of them are different varieties. I have a few that are kind of duplicates. I just recently redid my big garden area that it was maybe about a tenth of an acre big, and I recently redid that to kind of adapt for my back problems. So I do have a bad back, and I had back surgery last year, so I'm kind of adapting that. So I got 8 different Birdies raised beds, and I had a landscaping crew come out and level everything out, build a nice walkway and a pad out there. I'll show you that. You'll see some of that in the video today, but my main goal is to get most of the garden beds filled up with compost. So I ordered 2 yards of compost, and that's my job today, is kind of just to get at least a couple of wheelbarrows full into some of those garden beds. I'm also going to do a couple of layers. So I'll do a layer of the compost and a layer of probably get some leaves from the yard, and maybe I was thinking about getting some peat moss, but I may avoid that with just getting leaves. And I got some chicks last week, or I guess the week before last now, and so they have lots of wood chips and things like that. So I may just use their wood chips to kind of incorporate it in, and just some of the things that I can find around the yard to kind of make it somewhat of a lasagna garden within that garden bed. But without any further ado, I'll go ahead and go outside and show you the compost and get started on loading that up. All right, so this is the compost that I got, and I'm not sure how satisfied I am with it. I guess time will tell. I already got a couple of wheelbarrows full out of this bag. We got a big rain last night, so that's nice and heavy and watered down. I probably should have covered it up a little bit better, but so yeah, I'm gonna get started. I've got a nice little transfer shovel and gonna get started. Gonna get a couple of loads full. So this is where they're gonna go. I'll go ahead and show you the actual garden beds. So this is the walkway. I have a door right there that I can come out of my office and basement, so that I can walk straight back here and do whatever gardening I need. So these are, like I said, the Birdies raised beds. And see, I've got this one filled up with some of the soil that was left over from actually doing this project. And then after doing the project, I was using this as my compost pile, so I was just throwing all of my compostables in here, cardboard, everything like that. And then this is where I put a couple of wheelbarrows of this compost already. So you can see it's it has good consistency, so it kind of balls up, but then it breaks apart pretty easily. And I guess, like I said, time will tell on if it's actually nutrient rich. So I'm gonna do probably 2 more wheelbarrow fulls of this, and then I'll do a wheelbarrow full of leaves, and then finish it off with more compost. I also put, so you can see right here, I put some charcoal in the garden bed. So I actually just kind of soaked that in a weed tea, just in a bucket with water and grass clippings or whatever you can find around the house, around the yard, and make a little anaerobic tea out of it. Soak that charcoal in there, all the good bacteria and nutrients and everything gets absorbed into that, and then kind of incorporated it with this garden soil, and that's going to hold a lot of nutrients for a really long time, because charcoal really takes a really long time to break down. I think it's 20 or 30 years depending on it, you know, the type, or you know, how it was made, and the conditions. So something like this, these bigger pieces, since I didn't, it's literally just hardwood lump charcoal. So those bigger pieces that are in there, I didn't break it up or anything. Those bigger pieces that are in there should last for a really long time. Those roots can still get all around in there, and then the nutrients that are held, you know, in the middle of that thing are just going to slowly kind of release and osmose into the soil, and you know, keep feeding the roots. So I've been just kind of letting this bed sit and kind of turn into better compost and soil, kind of homogenize is what they call it. So that bed is pretty much full. I will, you know, as you can see, it was full, and then it sank down a couple of rungs because I have compostables. I put some logs and things like that, some extra soil, like I said, that was from my old garden in there, and it started to decompose down. And so I'm gonna have to continue topping it off. I'll have to top all of them off because I've done them all this way. Let's see. Yeah, so I mean, and there's a bunch of weeds down in there, but I mean, it's gonna be covered up with a good 20 inches of soil or leaves or whatever else, so that should not be a problem. And then this one, so there's a good shot of, you know, kind of the wood and stuff that I'm piling up in here. There's, you know, the boxes from the garden beds or the main base layer. And then you can see over there, we'll do a video on that later. So like I said, subscribe and make sure that you stay tuned while I talk about the garden beds today. You see, that's a big old log sitting in there decomposing. That's going to take a long time to decompose, and it's just going to hold moisture. You can see, you know, as wood rots, it just holds more and more moisture, and that'll hopefully help prevent from having to water as much. So they did sod around here because all of this was okay. One of my neighbors driving by on his Harley. So all of this was my garden at one point, and pretty much all the way back to there. And then this tree was kind of the corner of my garden, and then it came down to where I am now. So it's definitely a smaller garden, but it's going to be a lot more manageable, a lot easier on my back, and I think it looks a lot nicer. My last garden was a lot more unorganized, so I'm going to be able to have, you know, certain beds dedicated to certain things, and yeah, I mean, it's going to be great, and I'll be able to rotate, kind of maybe have them numbered, or I'll be able to keep track of them. But I do plan to do some kind of arch. I haven't decided if I want to do it off of these beds or do a small one off of those in the back, because when I do plan to expand, or if I do decide to expand, I'm going to start stacking the garden beds moving back behind this kind of sitting area. And I'm going to move you know, these tables, once I get all of the garden beds full and don't have to be coming through there with a wheelbarrow constantly, I've got a table and chairs that I'm gonna put up there. All right, well, I'm gonna get to doing some wheelbarrow loads. So this compost actually came from an organic dairy farm. Actually, I should say the compost company gets their manure compost from a dairy farm, and they mix it with organic hay that they get from their own hay farm. So it is OMRI listed as organic. However, I am noticing one thing, and that is a lot of little fragments from the bags that they were shipped in actually kind of integrated into the soil, which I'm not too happy about with, you know, OMRI listed, but I don't think it'll be too much of a concern in the long run. Alright, so I got one wheelbarrow full into the big bed, and it looks like that should be good. I don't want too much carbon too high up in the garden bed, because again, that's gonna break down and kind of use some nitrogen. But you know, I'm gonna continue to put nitrogen into the soil, so that shouldn't be an issue. So I'm going to get back to putting a couple loads of compost on top of this, these leaves. At least trying to get a good layer on top of these leaves so they don't get blown around anymore, blown off of there. And then I'm going to take another break, go drink some water, rest my back a little bit. See, like I said before, it's a really good consistency. You know, it balls up when you push it together, but then it just kind of crumbles apart. There are some, you know, these larger pieces that have just kind of, I guess, combined or structuralized, if you want to call it that. I don't think that's a word. Structuralized. Built structure, I guess, would be maybe the proper term. Alright, so that's all I'm gonna do for right now. Got a decent layer of compost on top of those leaves. I'd say maybe 4 more wheelbarrows to get that garden bed done. And yeah, I'm gonna go take a break, rest my back, and drink some water. Okay, stop recording. Alright, so I just took a little break, kind of sat back and rested my back and drank a little bit of water and got one of these electrolyte drinks that I've been liking to drink. And I've been sponsored by Redmond, and they provide a really quality product. They are actually revamping the Relight product, this is probably my favorite Redmond product, is the electrolyte drinks that they have. And they are actually currently going through relaunching Relight. So it's going to be a new name with Relight Hydration. They have switched up some of the ingredients and improved them to make them a little bit easier to combine and everything like that, maybe a little bit more bioavailable. But right now that means that it's out of stock. But there are some other things that you can still get from Redmond, like the real salt. So like after you've actually grown your vegetables and you're wanting to cook them up, you know, putting some of this real salt on a slice of tomato, it's out of this world. You know, homegrown tomato with some real salt. So what makes this different than regular pink Himalayan salt is that it's actually produced and mined in the United States, in Utah, in the Salt Lakes in Utah, and it has all of the beneficial minerals, the minerals that are in real salt. And it's not been shipped across the world. It hasn't been held in these big giant warehouses. It was harvested from a single source in Utah and packaged in Utah and then shipped throughout the country, and I believe throughout the world. So definitely give it a try. I'm gonna leave a 15% code and a link into the actual article for their relaunch of Relight, which actually hasn't been relaunched. So this is the old product, and then the new one is going to come out soon. And as soon as it does, I'll be sure to get some and do a little review on it and kind of update you guys on it. So yeah, check the link below for a 15% off code or a 15% off link. And yeah, stay hydrated when you're out there.